is Sam. I was so blessed by SOM. I was blessed by a couple things. First, I learned about the history of GMI and the DNA for missions. How one man, Pastor Kim, gave his life to a calling from God to start the missions movement. Now that baton is being passed to our generation today. Secondly, in one of the sessions, there was an altar call for those who felt led to give financially for those who are in the mission fields. I felt led to answer this call as well, and I pray that God will lead me through that call.
I was so blessed by all the speakers that came through for SOM. They shared with us endless testimonies about God's faithfulness. I found myself particularly blessed by Pastor Peter Shu, his sister, as well as Pastor John Robb and his wife Lori. When I looked at them, I felt like I could see, or I saw what a life given to God could look like. You know, even though they were past the typical retirement age, they were still co-working, still co-laboring with the Lord, and still obeying his voice. Their lives reminded me of these lyrics that say, if you still have breath in your lungs, you're not done. And it reminded me that the Lord could truly use me if I am willing. And I was also blessed by the task of the book report. I ended up choosing a book called Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus. I highly recommend that book for anyone who has a heart for Muslims. I just learned so much through this book. I learned more about Islam, and it also grew my heart, my compassion for our Muslim brothers and sisters.
Hello everyone, my name is Sam Kim, and I attended School of Missions this year. First, I want to share why I decided to attend School of Missions, and to also tell you why School of Missions, it's not just for those called to be full-time missionaries. So I've been a Christian all my life. I grew up in a Christian family. For me, missions was just an activity among many other activities that we do as a Christian. I knew what missions was. I knew all this in my head. However, it wasn't fully in my heart. The more I thought about it, I was giving my time and money out of obligation and not because of my desire or love for God and his people. So I asked God at the start of School of Missions to give me his heart for missions so that I would not only know what missions is in my head, but to have it in my heart, to know why we do missions. And he answered my prayer from the very first session. And every session after that was confirmation after confirmation, revelation after revelation of why we do missions. And the short and simple answer is, we do it because we love God. Yes, what a cliche Christian answer. But through School of Missions, I've learned that it's that simple. Doing missions work is a natural outward reaction to loving God. If you're a Christian, then you're a missionary. It's not just for full-time missionaries, or you do it for a short-term missions trip and then you're done. Yes, you do those things, but it's more than that. As Christians, we are called to love God, love others, and share this love. That's basically missions. So the biggest takeaway from School of Missions for me is everything that we decide to do in life should be centered around missions. For example, some practical yet important questions we should be asking ourselves is, how do I use my job or school for missions? How will accepting that new job offer affect my ability to do missions? Or some of us should be asking, how can I do missions and also take care of my family? But once we put doing God's work as our priority, then God will lead us. He will provide answers and he will provide ways. But we have to do our part, and that is to be ready, be available, and say yes to God when he calls. He will provide and make a way. Yes, another cliche Christian answer, but for me, it's that simple. So yeah, so let us be available and say yes when He calls. So yeah, all glory to God.
Hi everyone. I really loved every week of SOM. I was so blessed through School of Mission, learning about the history of our church, the history of every Grace Seminary and Global Church plant, always being planted, established with the single vision of partaking in the Great Commission. Knowing that I can be a part of that by being a member here was really humbling and inspiring. I really want to be a more humble, willing worker who's really led by the power of the Spirit in everything that I do, so that we can all together participate in the Great Commission as our EM body. I was so blessed by all the speakers, like all of our pastors, all of our elders who spoke. They're so united in heart, very humble. They honored our leaders, our past and current head pastors. They honor each other. They love each other so much. So seeing that support, mutual love for each other, and also being united by the same vision of the Great Commission, the biblical vision, was absolutely inspiring. And I'm so grateful to go to GMI. I'm so grateful I got to participate in SOM, and I really hope that all of us would do so. We learned a lot of facts, a lot of history, different mission strategies, but essentially, I believe we all learned, received the heart of God for all people to know Him, so that He can return and we can be rejoined with him. And so I hope that every one of our church members takes SOM. I hope we can take SOM again, even if we've taken it before. And I really hope that our church friends, our families, members can also take SOM too, if that would be opened up in the future. So yeah, thank you, staff, for organizing us, hosting us. I'm really thankful to God for this opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to learning how to become more available for God this year, especially with the new vision with our KM. So uniting generations. And so thank you very much for listening to this, and it is just an honor and a privilege to partake in SOM. Thank you again.